Hello all my Kinvians, and welcome to a slightly different angle here in the office. Hopefully it's not as loud right now as it has been previously. Good news and bad news, I am going to be recording, or rather watching, this episode of Steven Universe on my new PC. Still getting it finished up. The downside is that I'm still having to do things on my old computer that is still set up at the previous location, and it is being horrendously loud because they turned the heat on in this building, and while that's a good thing because it's cold here, it's kind of forcing the computer that already has overheating issues to overheat rather easily. So that'll be running in the background. It may get a bit loud at times. And this current setup is not the most structurally sound, so while I'm writing down my notes here on my laptop, I do apologize if there's any weird noise. Oh, and also there might be sounds coming from outside because I have my windows open, so I don't burn up in a sauna here of the combined heat being on and PCs running. So, that being said, today's episode is friendship. And I really hope that this is a good episode. I hope it brings some closure to what's been going on with Garnet and Pearl, just the Crystal Gems in general. I really would love some closure right now because this has been a very busy day, a very trying day, and I want this to be happy because many reasons. But let's get right into it with friendship. Bink. Oh, Peridot.
Now this is busted again. These crystal gems are a menace.
Oh, wow.
I was right. My plan worked perfectly. Good morning. What? How did you know I was here? With the... doesn't anything work on this cruddy planet? I do.
Nice.
She's desperate. Look at this. She's cornered herself in there. We got her just where we want her.
Or it's a trap.
What is? Excellent question, Stephen.
Oh, God.
What we see before us is an ancient interplanetary ship. I'm not using this vessel to fly. I'm using it to trap you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I assumed.
No more crystal gems running. How does it feel to be so easily outsmarted, you Claude?
Clods.
Hey, this is Amethyst. I don't appreciate being called a Claude, you Claude. Enough talk. Yourself for annihilation. That's 3 shields in one day. Not too shabby.
Oh, dear God.
How do you like my spice? Only if you're okay with it. What are we doing? I guess I'm just too smart for the likes of you lumpy, clumpy clods. I caught a Peridot.
Touchstones.
Yes. You'll pay for this crystal gem. I'll get you. Just you wait.
She broke off part of her leg?
Wrestler. Right, Garnet? It's a good step forward.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I needed that. I definitely needed that, and I'm so happy with the way that ended in the end. Yeah, I don't care about my repetitiveness or my redundantness. Whatever. Anyway. Okay, so heck of an episode there. I will see you all in just a moment for the review portion of this video. Welcome back all my Kinvians. I apologize if it's at a slight bit of an angle, but I did have to kind of adjust the position of the camera there. Fingers crossed things will be somewhat back to normal next week. But let's get right into the review portion of this video, starting with my favorite parts of friendship. And oh, by the way, I like the pun there. Friend, like, you know, they repaired the friendship in the old ship. It is now their friendship. I'll stop there. Anyway, my first favorite part of this episode was that they opened with Peridot. I mean, I had been wondering for a while, you know, when we might see Peridot again. Anytime she has appeared, it's basically always been part way into the episode. This is the first time we've ever had Peridot just front and center at the very start of an episode, and I really like that. In addition, just what followed thereafter with the you know, the crystal gems appearing, and you know, that mini, I guess you could say, fight, more of a fumbled attempt at a capture. But all that I really enjoyed. But again, overall, I really like the fact that it opened with Peridot. Hopefully it won't be the only one, because I am definitely growing to like Peridot, despite the fact that she's a bad guy. Somewhat bumbling, it seems, but at the same time, I mean, clearly capable of dark and creepy things, like with those shattered limb gems or whatever they were several episodes back. But moving on from there, my second favorite part of this episode was just the fact that they really went all out with providing some major drama and tension throughout this episode. Now, there had been that tension for the most part because Garnet wouldn't talk to Pearl. What happened at the end of the episode when Garnet found out that Pearl had been lying to her. I mean, you know, that was some tension, but this one is like before the talk happens, you know, there's this very visible tension, and even though Garnet was talking to Pearl again, clearly, the way Pearl was acting and the way she was being so overly impulsive and getting in the way, it was definitely causing issues, which only added to the tension and the drama of what was going on. So yeah, I just, the entire episode, as far as that aspect goes, again, the tension and the drama, I really like that. It was really well done in this episode. My next favorite part of this episode was the trap. The use of the old ship, which, I mean, if you watch the reaction, I mean, I obviously knew it was going to happen. It wasn't, I mean, it was pretty obvious what was going to happen there, that Peridot was going to set a trap after Pearl basically revealed how they were finding her, or at least the fact that they were able to track her. So, I mean, while the trap was obvious, the way that it was set up was really cool. Just all the different aspects of the trap I thought were really interesting and creative, because it allowed each of the crystal gems a moment to shine in their own way. Even, you know, though it did take the combined power of Garnet and Pearl fusing into Sardonyx in order to get out of that last trap. But that aside, moving on from there, my fourth favorite part of this episode was the fact that Garnet and Pearl were forced to talk. Because, I mean, they were building up to it the entire episode. Amethyst herself said that they needed to talk. And when they were forced into this situation where they needed to talk, and if they hadn't have talked, they would have, well, most likely their gems would have been shattered. But we get some just amazing things out of it. Just by far some of the best dialogue in the entire show so far. Pearl explains why she did what she did. I mean, one could say it's still just an excuse, but at the same time, it's an understandable reason that she gave. And then Garnet reveals that it wasn't just like, she's not as strong as Pearl thinks, and she reveals that she came undone because of what happened, which Amethyst didn't even know about, and she was surprised by. So there was just so much about that particular segment that is just, like I said, it's some of the best dialogue from this show so far. It was some of the most heartfelt, tearjerker dialogue that I absolutely loved it. I mean, I don't know what else to say there. It was really, really good. Now, moving on from there, my fifth favorite part of this episode was just very simple, but when Amethyst's whip breaks and the room is forced to, or it's closing in on Garnet and Pearl more, Amethyst and Steven don't know what's going on, so they just start freaking out. And I just thought, with all the drama that was going on, like, we had some funny, silly moments, but that was just the equalizer. It was equally as silly in that moment as it was serious just moments before. And I love that counterbalance, and it worked really well for me in this particular situation. Now, my sixth and final favorite part of this episode was the joke at the end after Peridot breaks off part of her foot and escapes. And basically, Garnet says, "It's a good step forward," or in response to Pearl saying that next time we'll get all over. It's just that joke there at the end, the foot joke that made Steven have a nice little chuckle. I really like that. And in that moment, it showed that there had been closure, that things were finally starting to heal, which is shown very much so through Amethyst's relief in those final seconds of the episode. It's like finally leans back. It's just that pressure is gone. Obviously there's still going to be aspects of the relationships that are going to have to be built upon or rebuilt and reestablished, but at the same time, like I said, it shows that there is that closure, that the healing has truly begun. So those are all my favorite parts. Moving on to some annoyances. One of which is, it's core to the episode, but it still annoyed me anyway. My first annoyance is Pearl's over-enthusiasm. Again, I get that it's part of the episode, it's needed for what happens throughout the episode. But when it was going on, it was really annoying. Really annoying. And again, that's intentional because it's annoying Garnet, it's annoying Amethyst, it's annoying Steven. But at the same time, it was one of those things where it had me as the viewer annoyed, so that's why it's one of my annoyances. So there you go. And my second annoyance with this episode is one that did just seem kind of weird, but at the end when Peridot blows the hole in the ceiling and starts escaping, quote unquote, we've seen her fly off before. She can fly pretty fast, but she elevated really, really slow. Like, in the span of time that she was talking as she was elevating, she could have been long gone. But because she elevated so slow, Steven had the opportunity to jump and grab her leg. So, obviously it played into the plot, but otherwise it was just annoying seeing her elevate so slowly when we have seen that she is capable of flying much faster. So, I don't know. Again, that's just an annoyance there, a nitpick if you will. But yeah, those are both of my annoyances. But that last annoyance does lead to my one moment of terror, which completely shocked me, and that's when Peridot broke her foot off. It just, I don't know if she ripped it off or if she pressed a button or what, but just poof, and it was off, and then she's flying away with a stub and a much shorter leg. So yeah, those are all my favorites, my annoyances, and my moment of terror. I would love to hear what you all have to say about those in the comments down below. But let's move on into my tracks of the episode. Yeah, actually, again, even though I don't know the names of the tracks, the two that stood out the most to me, the first is what I'm calling the trap, and it's the music, that dramatic, mysterious, almost hollow sounding track that plays after the trap has been triggered for the crystal gems, especially at that portion where they find the hologram of Peridot and Pearl is uselessly but angrily swinging at it to take out her frustrations. It's like, that track right there was really good. And then probably the best track of the episode, I mean, by far the best track of the episode, to go with some of, again, the best dialogue that I have experienced in this show so far, was what I call the conversation. The music that plays, it's more near the end of the conversation as that healing is beginning, as the understanding starts, because part of the conversation is just in dead silence, or at least that's what I heard. But yeah, just that track there as they're finishing the conversation, beautiful. It's sad, but it has some hopefulness to it. It's really, really like that track. And moving on from there, my quote of the, well, really quotes of the episode, I was going to leave one of them out. But the first one, it's just very simple, and it gave me, I can't remember if it really made me laugh or if I just went, But it's when they go into the ship and they see how the plant life has taken over the ship, and Amethyst says, looks like Earth won this battle. And I really liked that line. I really did. Because, I mean, the whole element of this alien species coming to Earth to take over and, possibly destroy it, I found that to be the fact that one of the oldest bits of technology on Earth, from like when crystal gems originally came to Earth, it has completely overtaken that ship. I mean, other than what Peridot reactivated, obviously, but it had basically been reclaimed, a lot like some of the post-apocalyptic movies that we see, that, you know, where things aren't all just burned to the ground like in the Terminator movies. But I mean, especially in what is it, The Last of Us on PlayStation 3. I know that's more of that is a video game instead of a movie, but it's one of those things where the Earth has been it's taken back the land that had been overtaken by so many humans, by overtaking the structures, like plant life grows in them. I really like that idea. And I realize I've been going on way too long about one quote, so let me move on to my second quote of the episode. And the part of it that I did write down is when Pearl opens up to Garnet about why she did what she did, and she says, "No matter how hard I try to be strong like you, I'm just a Pearl. I'm useless on my own." And really, I'd want to say that the quote goes beyond that. The quote of the episode for me, the true quote of the episode, is that entire string of dialogue between those two. It is just, again, amazing. I know I'm harping on and on about how it's some of the best dialogue I've seen in the show so far, but it's true. I really feel strongly about this, and I really just am amazed at how adult and understand. They weren't taking the situation and just made it like, oh, okay, well, we're good again because, at least you tried, or anything simple like that, talking down to kids or talking down to the viewers. The show and its creators have the audacity to talk to viewers, to talk to kids like they're intelligent beings. And I just, that's one of the things that I love about this bit of dialogue. So yeah, I'll touch on that a little bit more in just a minute. But moving on from there, my question of the episode is, will we see Sardonyx appear again? Ever? Will we ever see Sardonyx appear again? It's a question that I legitimately hold because of what happened between Pearl and Garnet. I mean, because of the healing taking place, it's understandable that a situation may arise in which Sardonyx would be needed again. But how likely are they to do that, given, how the fusion between the two of them, it has a bit of a toxicity. Again, that healing will help that. And just because of how it affected them in the long run, what if, say, Pearl has an addictive personality? I mean, I don't know that that's even remotely established, but if she were to fuse with Garnet into Sardonyx again in the future for a battle or whatever, would she feel that urge to need to do it over and over again? It's hard to say. So that's why I ask, is like, will Sardonyx ever appear again? And again, I'm still behind, so I have no idea if she does or not. But I would at least like to know, I mean, spoiler free, of course, but just let me know whether or not Sardonyx does appear again. I would like to know that. But moving on from the question onto a theory, and this is just something off the top of my head, but because of the way Peridot's foot broke off, my theory is that Peridot's feet and hands are tech that she has made, and in fact not actually part of her body. I don't know if that means that she's just really short in general or what, but the fingers of her hands very much resemble the orbs, or the orb creatures, whatever they were, that she had sent to Earth before, like the legs of those creatures. And I don't know, just overall, again, it's because of how easy the leg broke off. And not only that, but crystal gems in general, if she had truly been damaged, then would she not have receded into her gem, like Pearl would do, like Amethyst did? And, well, I mean, like basically all the gems except for Steven, for obvious reasons. Because of that damage she took, would she not have been forced back into her crystal state? So yeah, that's my theory, is that Peridot's feet and hands are in fact tech that she has made and not actually part of her body, which would explain, again, a lot of what happened there and the fact that she was still able to escape seemingly painlessly. So yeah, don't ruin that for me, whether it's true or false. That's something that I have a feeling will be revealed in the future, either, whatever happens, I want to find out for myself. And, let's get right into my overall thoughts. And it should be fairly clear, I really enjoyed this episode. Was it one of the most exciting episodes? No. Was it one of the funniest episodes? No. But again, because of the way they handled the drama, the way they handled the tension between Pearl and Garnet, and the way they handled the resolution, it was just so well done. And again, I love the fact that, at least from my perspective, they use this episode to not talk down to the viewers, not talk down to the kids that view it, but treat them as equals and just let this adult conversation take place about actual, like, a person's insecurities. I mean, on both sides, like issues that you can have, and coming to the resolution, having closure without, things just completely being okay. Because in the real world, that doesn't necessarily happen. It is very rare that that ever happens. It's like, yeah, there's closure, but there's still feelings, there are still hurt feelings, there are things that have to be processed and worked through. And not only that, but also the fact that in very clear terms, which they kind of touched on this in the past, but with Ruby's anger over what had happened, but they gave an excellent example of consent. Because even though they were about to die, about to be crushed by this trap, when Garnet says that there's only one way out of this, instead of just jumping right into it, Pearl says, only if you're okay with it. Consent. And the show it handled that so well. And I just really love and appreciate that. That's a lesson that needs to be taught to kids more often. Even though we think that they are, I mean, it's just unfortunately not something that is, not even forced upon them, but told through stories like this to help kids understand, again, the idea of consent, of, not tricking someone to get what you want, but if it's something that benefits the both of you to, at the very least, ask for that consent before jumping into something. I mean, I'm rambling right now and probably not making total sense, but again, I just love the way they handled that. Now, I mean, that's it for this episode. I would love to hear your all's thoughts on everything I talked about here. My favorites, my annoyances, my moment of terror. The theory, without spoiling anything, if possible. I mean, obviously, it's like, let's try and keep the comments spoiler-free for future episodes. But I would really love to hear your all's thoughts on all of this, including if there's any other lines that you think are, better than the ones I picked. If you know the names of the tracks that were from this episode, I would love to hear what they are. But again, and beyond that, even just your overall thoughts on this episode. I would hope that this is one that's universally strongly liked. If you don't, I would love to hear why. I would appreciate a little bit of explanation as to why you don't like this episode. But yeah, that's all I have to say. On the next episode of Discovering Steven Universe, I will be watching Nightmare Hospital. And as much as I wish that I actually had that episode out in time for Halloween, it unfortunately probably won't happen. But yeah, because Halloween falls on a Tuesday, but hopefully it will be soonly thereafter. Because I'm going to be try to record a lot of videos as soon as possible and to get a good backlog going so I don't have to make you all wait anymore for further episodes. But, excuse me. That's the end of this episode. I would, again, love to hear what you all think. For those of you that don't already know, I have a new channel over on this website called VidMe. There will be a link down below. For the most part, I am archiving some of the older videos, but there are limitations on the channel, such as the amount of data on videos that I can actually upload. And then also the videos can only be up to 30 minutes in length until I become verified, which I need 50 followers to apply for verification. So there's a chance that I may go on to create content exclusive for the VidMe channel, like maybe I'll do vlogs there instead of doing them here on the PapaKennMedia channel. I don't know exactly yet. It's hard to say, but if you're interested at all, I would really appreciate a follow on there. And maybe you all might find some new people on VidMe that you want to check out as well. And then, of course, as always, thank you to all the patrons out there that provide your patronage and, provide money for the chance to get some of these episodes early. I know that hasn't been as common for the past couple of weeks because of, obvious reasons, but there will be more of a backlog coming soon, more videos of the Cuphead Let's Play, more videos of Discovering Steven Universe, and of course, more episodes of Discovering Doctor Who. So yeah, just thank you all so much. And even if you're not a patron or on Patreon, all of you that watch these videos, thank you so much. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you all watching these videos of mine. We're getting so close to 3,000 subscribers, and I really am wanting to push to make this channel better than it's ever been before. It's going to take a lot of time, but I am definitely going to do my absolute best. So again, rambling a lot, and I will end this episode now. Until next time, everyone, I am Papa Ken, and I will see you on the next episode of Discovering Steven Universe.